One, two, three. Ready? Hi there. This is Schmitty's Kettle Corn here. I have a couple tips and tricks on how to make your kettle corn at a better quality. So, if you're noticing that your kettle corn is a little bit darker than normal, there's a couple of ways that you can actually lighten up your popcorn. So, if you're going to make kettle corn batch to batch to batch, there's some things that I've noticed over the years that make your kettle corn lighter or darker. And one is how much oil you use. Two is how much sugar you use. And sometimes if you use too much oil, it will darken your popcorn. And sometimes if you use too much sugar, it will darken your popcorn. And three is how high and how low your propane tank flame is. I believe it's your PSI or from your regulator. And so if you're thinking that you're cooking on a hot day, for example, and it's too hot, well, you can turn on your flame, and then you can cook a little bit fat. It might take a little bit longer to cook, depending on how hot the day is. But with that, then that way, you know what, you know how to cancel out the three. So I'm going to cook a better batch today. So when I make kettle corn for myself at the markets, I hand pop everything myself. I don't use a stirrer, and I do not use a generator or a paddle or anything like that, an automatic stirrer. I always hand pop it with a paddle. So I'll start here by throwing in a few seeds, and I'll turn on my flame here, and I'll let the kettle machine just leave it in one place, Andrew. Just leave it in one place, yeah. The kettle will heat up, and if you bring the camera closer to see, how I tell when the oil is ready is the bubbles will start popping, and then I put my gloves on. And I do a ratio of 2 scoops of kettle corn to 1 scoop of sugar. Right here. And I have 1 scoop here going in. More scoop going in. I'll let it stir around a little bit, and I'll get my sugar. My oil kind of mixes. I'm going to get my oil, my corn mixed together a little bit, and now I'm going to get my sugar going. And I use about this much sugar, and I dump it right in the middle. Cover the top, and the trick with the wooden paddle versus a stirrer. When you have the stirrer going, it's automatically going to do a pretty fresh batch every time. For me, I personally was trained by using the wooden paddle, so people also like the look of it. Also, the other drawback to the stirrer is that the stirrers always also break down. You know, with the wooden paddle, I would literally have to break this paddle for it to not work. And I always have a spare paddle in my truck. I've learned that lesson the hard way before. I actually went to a market and didn't have my paddle, and I had to tell 500 customers one day that I had no popcorn because I couldn't have a paddle to stir. So, you know, I always make sure that when I go out for the day that I have backup of equipment, so that way I make sure that, you know, if I'm missing something, oh, I've got this just in case. And I've actually had situations before where I've broken a paddle and I've had to replace it, so that's why another reason why I always keep a spare. But here, the trick is that when you have the heat coming in, the heat's hitting the bottom, and the heat has to get up to about 300 degrees or so. And as long as I'm stirring the bottom of the paddle, then the bottom of the bowl, then it will eventually pop all up fresh on site. And the nice thing about popping fresh versus popping ahead of time is that there's a few things that you can do, by the way, to increase your sales. And one of the things that I do versus, I do different markets. I do 6 markets a week. And one market that I do, I have to pop virtually everything ahead of time. And I do okay, but every market that I pop fresh, I do about 3 to 4 times more in sales. So if you can go to a market where you can pop fresh, I would highly recommend that you pop fresh for a few different reasons. One, they're seeing you pop it fresh here, made on site this day. As I'm actually popping, the the smoke goes out and you can actually smell it around you. So when I have customers come by and say, hey, I want some kettle corn, I can smell it 3 blocks away, then you know that they're going to come by and buy something. The other thing too is that I have my sample containers out, and even if they're not going to buy something, if they sample something, 9 times out of 10, they'll buy it. And even throughout the day, I get the kettle corn ready first, but I'll actually do 4 to 5 flavors fresh on site each day. So that's what I do that would make me stand out versus the competition, because you're always going to want fresh popcorn over popcorn that's been in the store shelf for 6 months or even a few days. After a few days, you can even tell and taste the popcorn. The crunchiness goes away. So people come here expecting the fresh popcorn every day to come to market. And here it comes. Almost ready to done. Waiting the last few pops to come out. And then voila, they go over here, front ender. And then I dump it, and then there we go. And then afterwards, I'll put a little bit of salt on it, and then serve it up front. This will easily cool off within 1 or 2 minutes. Again, this is Schmitty's Kettle Corn. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you.